Hey everyone, Arkham here, and today I'm going to be talking about and just giving my thoughts and theories on the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie that just came out. So I happened to go see, as of recording this video, I went to go see the movie last night on October 26th, and let me tell you, wow. I have a lot to say about it, so that's what this video is pretty much going to be. It's just going to be me talking about it, giving my thoughts on what I liked, kind of what I disliked, and, you know, I have a book here on, some notes that I've taken down, and I want to talk about and jot down maybe some theories that I have for this movie and just anything going forward in it. So if you're interested in what I have to say, then stick around. I know I haven't posted on this channel in like, what has it been, like months? It's been a while, but you know, this should be fun. So I just thought I'd come on and, you know, talk about this. So the first thing I wanted to go into about this movie is just like, nothing, you know, oh yeah, and I'm gonna be talking about the actual movie. So if you don't want spoilers, then do not click on this video. It'll be in the title. I'll make sure it's in the title. Do not watch this if you don't want spoilers. So I'm gonna make sure of that. But the things I liked about this movie, the soundtrack. Let's do the soundtrack. The soundtrack was great. There's this intro, the intro to the movie had this great, like, I don't know, children's just creepy humming mixed with 8-bit, with the 8-bit mini game that's very reminiscent to the older FNAF games, you know, like the death mini games and everything that just show the story of the missing children. That was a very great hook and very great intro to the movie itself. And the soundtrack just kept going through, kept hitting, just throughout the movie. The soundtrack and the music and everything was great about that. The sound effects were also great too. The horror moments, when they wanted to hit, they hit. At least for me, you know. I'm not sure to, you know, the average person how scary a 7-foot animatronic bear running at you would be, but for me, I jumped a few, especially those damn Balloon Boy scenes. Those hit where they really shouldn't have, but they did. Speaking of horror, horror-wise, it was okay. I would say the scariest part of the movie was definitely the part where Max and her friends or brother, or I'll talk about characters later, but the scene where Max and, you know, all those other people actually went in and broke into the pizzeria to try and sabotage Mike's reputation, that was the scariest part, I think. Just everyone getting offed one by one, you know. Maybe you found a campy of the cupcake literally eating the guy's face, but still, parts after that, like the scene where Foxy chases after him at the end, the guy in the storage closet where Bonnie attacks him. I think that was the scariest part, just throughout. The practical effects, oh my god. The actual animatronics created by Jim Henderson Studios, they were great. Let me tell you, they were great. Besides the literal cupcake kind of flying towards people, I could not tell a single instance of CGI usage in this. The practical effects in this movie were great. Like, the animatronics themselves, they actually felt like animatronics. They felt like they took them from the games, put them onto the big screen, and it looked great. All of it looked fantastic, which I could not be more happy about. Now, all that away, let's get into the more like thoughts and theory side. Let me talk about the plot a bit, because the plot is very interesting. Now, if you're a hardcore FNAF fan like moi, you know, we don't have to show any security breach clips, but I do actually enjoy this franchise a lot. This movie's been a very ambitious thing for me to wait for, and I'm glad to say that, you know, it was worth it. I very enjoyed it. But anyway, the plot is a very interesting take on what we know of the usual FNAF lore in of itself. So the plot is, we have Mike Schmidt. Mike Schmidt is this guy who he's kind of suffered a lot in life. He has a hard time getting a job and staying with it. His previous job was a security guard as a mall. He got fired from it because he thought that this dad was attacking this kid, and so he kind of went ballistic and he charged the dude into a water fountain and he just started beating the hell out of him. Like, he's got some real issues, and the reasons for that is because stuff that's happened in his past. So we learn from Mike Schmidt, that in his dreams, there's a lot of dream sequences in this movie, and they're kind of important. So in these dream sequences, we reveal that Mike had a younger brother named Garrett, and he and Garrett and the whole family were out in the woods one night having a picnic or a sort of like camping session, and Mike's brother Garrett runs off when his mom told Mike to go and, you know, just make sure, check up on Garrett. But when Mike goes to try and find Garrett, he finds that Garrett has been abducted. Someone stole him, they put him in a car, and they drove away. And Mike's whole dilemma in this movie is trying to figure out the man who took his brother. Now, we find out later in the movie who it is, but that's pretty much his whole thing, is he's trying to find out, he's trying to go into his psyche and try and piece together, because he, in a scene with Mike and Vanessa, yes, Vanessa's in this movie. I'll talk about her because her character is very interesting. There's a scene where Mike and Vanessa talk about the concept of dream theory, which, again, dream theory, it could just be a coincidence. With Scott Cawthon, it rarely isn't. Dream theory, you know, the whole thing with FNAF 4 and the whole dream theory thing, I thought that was great. But he's talking about the theory of how memories are stored in the brain. And if you try hard enough and, you know, look back as much as you can piece together and remember things that you normally wouldn't. So his whole thing is that he tries, you know, ever since that day where his brother got stolen, he can't very well sleep. So he takes medication, he puts on nature sounds, he envisions himself, and he uses aspects that were in and around his area in order to try and figure out who stole his brother. Now, we do figure out in the end who did, and I have some interesting things to talk about with that. But let's move on to Vanessa. Vanessa is introduced as a police officer. Now, obviously, in Security Breach, she is a security guard, and she has her whole thing of being, you know, the security guard in the Pizzaplex. But in this movie, it seems like she's an actual police officer, although at the beginning, she's very off. She knows a lot. She knows a surprising lot about Freddy's, and we don't very much learn why she knows this until like the very end, Act 3. But it's revealed that Vanessa, and by the way, this is in my notes, we've got her last name. I don't know, this may be canon to the games or not, but we have a last name for Vanessa that was dropped in this movie. So she introduces herself to Mike as Vanessa Shelley. It's either Shelly or Shelby. It's either one of those two. I may be wrong, but I swear that's what I heard. So her full name is Vanessa Shelley. But just like the main antagonist of this movie, that's a cover-up. Or just a name switch, because names are important in this franchise, but it's a switch. Let me tell you. Vanessa Shelley is a police officer now who is very interested and just knows a lot about the history of Freddy's. And we figure out why later. But I'll go on to that when I get to the main antagonist, which isn't the animatronics themselves, is revealed at the end, and everyone knew this was coming, Matthew Lillard as William Afton. Wow, the name drop to actually hear that in a live-action movie is crazy. Everyone knows William Afton. He is the purple guy, he is the killer, he's Spring Bonnie. He's in this movie, and he was great. His performance was well done. His line delivery of "I always come back" hit, and that's really good. His whole thing was great. But the craziest thing, I think, in this movie, and this is getting into the more like theory aspect, I would say. The craziest aspect about what they've changed in this movie and what they've done with this is Vanessa and William. Because Mike Schmidt is, Mike is interesting too. But Josh Hutcherson played him really well. He was very entertaining to watch. He and his sister Abby. But Vanessa and William are the most interesting parts because of the fact that Vanessa reveals that she is the daughter of William Afton. So I guess she's actually Vanessa Afton, but she's decided to go by Vanessa Shelley because would you really want to be associated with a killer? Not exactly. Now here's the interesting part that once that was revealed, I've had this thought about, right? We all know in the games how Michael Afton, William's firstborn son, he is the one throughout most of the games that's trying to fix everything that his father's done. He's going to all the different restaurants trying to free all the spirits, and eventually in the end he causes a fire in FNAF 3, and he doesn't cause the fire in FNAF 6, Henry does, and eventually takes him and William out of the picture in the fire in FNAF 6. So Michael Afton is the one who's been actively trying to stop his father. But in this movie, it seems as if the roles are switched with Michael and Vanessa. Vanessa is the role of Michael Afton, it seems, which is very interesting and implies possibly a lot about the new branch that this lore is taking, security breach post. Because we've always assumed that Vanessa's just this random girl who got infected by this virus that took over her mind, made her this killer, and it was doing just this random girl, just this random young woman. But with the implications of this movie being that Vanessa is the daughter of William Afton, that changes a lot, because that could tell us that possibly in the games, William and Vanessa are connected, not just through magic VR headset, amazing digital circus shenanigans, but they're connected by blood. And that is very interesting. That is a very interesting thing that was revealed in this movie. I don't believe was touched on a lot. But William Afton himself, his motives, just like in the games, are not very clear in this movie. We all know he's the sadistic killer who kidnapped 5 kids, stuffed them in the animatronic suits. But in this movie, he's very interesting. He takes on the mantle or the identity of Steve Raglan as a cover-up name, kind of just like Dave Miller in the books. Speaking of the books, there's a lot of again, I'm going off topic, but I won't mention the books. I'm going off topic. So William is, I believe, because it had to start with the 5 kids. We saw in the intro with the 8-bit minigame with the 5 kids going missing. That had to be the first. But it's interesting how they connected him with Mike Schmidt, that he kidnapped his brother Garrett. Now, what is the importance of Garrett, and what will be his importance? Which, again, is, I'm guessing, stuff that they'll save for the second movie, if that ever does happen, which I think maybe, don't take my word for it, but I think they're planning a trilogy, which, again, very excited for, and the stage is set for that. At the end of the movie, the spring lock scene happens. We got it, baby. We got it, everyone. The live action spring lock scene actually happened, and it was great. That's where he said, "I always come back," trying to protect himself from the kids. It was great, and the setup for that was interesting too, because before that he revealed that he was the one controlling the kids all along. Or maybe not the kids, but the suits themselves. He did something to them which made them forgot what William did to them. He made them forgot that he was the one who abducted them. He had some sort of control over the animatronics. That's the whole thing with the red eyes. That's William Afton's doing. And by the end of the movie, Abby breaks this control or something by drawing a picture of Spring Bonnie attacking the children, and that breaks them out of this trance. So the implications and that part was kind of confusing, because if they knew that he was the one who took Mike's brother, because they do that. But yeah, that whole part is very interesting right there. Now the actual animatronics themselves, because the animatronics are characters, but there's mainly, I would say, Freddy and Golden Freddy. I would say those are the two main kids that we've got, and Golden Freddy is in this movie. He outright says, there's a scene where there's this yellowish bear missing an eye and missing an ear that invades Mike's home to take Abby away, where he specifically says he's not Freddy. So it is Golden Freddy, which is very interesting, but, you know, makes sense, the 5 missing kids and everything. But their whole plot, their whole side of the story is every night where Mike goes to sleep, he always has the same dream where he sees his brother getting taken, and he doesn't know who the guy is. But once he goes into the pizzeria, it gets very paranormal. The kids actually invade his dreams, and he starts questioning them, like, do you know who took my brother? Do you know that man? And eventually they tell him yes, and that they can help him, and they ask for something in return, and Mike is like, well, what do you want? And the kids are like, what can you give me? And he eventually says he can give them anything. He says that they can give them anything that they want. So throughout the movie, they start to build a bond with Mike's sister Abby, which he takes to the pizzeria, you know, because he can't just leave her at home. So he takes her to the pizzeria. They form a bond with Abby, and they decide that they want Abby. That's what they want. They want to make Abby one of them, as Vanessa says. So they manipulate Mike in one of his dreams to say that there's another dream sequence where the events are changed, where Mike is safe and he's happy with his brother Garrett. He never got kidnapped. They're all sitting at the picnic table, and they're all fine. And the kids, they say that this is what they can give him. They can make it so that he never has the bad version of that dream anymore. They say that this is what we can give you every night, but what we want Abby. And Mike, kind of out of selfishness, he mutters under his breath and he says, yes, this is what I want. But then he realizes, like halfway through, like, no, this isn't real. This isn't what I want. You leave my sister alone. But it's too late. They already have their eyes set on Abby, which might be either a little bit of the mix of the William manipulation, because towards the end of the movie, when they eventually realize that, you know, William was the one who offed them, they decide that they don't want Abby anymore. They punish William instead. They spring lock him and they take him to the back room as the whole building collapses, which again is interesting. And they try to put Abby in a spring lock suit, which is the same suit from the books. It's from the books. The design of the animatronic that they want to put Abby in is from the books. It's from, I think, the story 135 AM from one of the Fazbear Frights books. Oh yeah, and Sparky the dog too. He was real the whole time. There's a scene where that suit shows up. He was real the whole time, which is awesome. One more thing I want to talk about, and one more interesting thought that I have. In the credits, which, by the way, yes, thank God we got the Living Tombstone song as the credits for the movie. Thank you. But anyway, as the credits were going, we hear a very familiar motif and a very familiar song, and that is the Puppet's music box from FNAF 2, which no mention of the puppet at all in this movie. So why would the Puppet's music box be used in the movie's credits? I believe that they're setting that up, and the last message and the last big mystery that this movie leaves us with is at the very end of the credits, before they're done rolling, is we get the same text-to-speech voice that's in the Save Them minigames, where the same text-to-speech voice spells out the message "Save Them," and we get message that's spelled out in different letters. We get a message that says "Come find me." Now, who is this referring to? Who is sending out this message? Who is saying "Come find me"? Now, this could be, I've thought, maybe 4 possibilities. One is Garrett. This is Garrett talking to Mike and saying, "I'm alive and you should come find me." 2, this is William Afton in the back room of the now destroyed Freddy Fazbear's Pizza may be calling out to his daughter Vanessa, saying, "I'm still alive too, come find me." Now, things that weren't mentioned in the movie that may still happen for the sequel, the third option is the puppet himself. The puppet has been known as this helpful figure who helps the kids. He brought them back to life. He gave them cake, gave them life. So, and having the puppet's music in the credits combined with that message, "Come find me," gives this sort of feeling that maybe the two are connected, and the person that's asking for whoever to come find them is the puppet himself, and he will be revealed in the second movie and have a major plot point to that. And the last person that I thought Come Find Me could relate to is Elizabeth Afton. Now, this is very interesting and kind of out there because Elizabeth is all about, security breach and baby and the fun time animatronics and all that. But remember, the initial introduction to sister location was that Michael Afton was sent down into the secret bunker in order to find his sister, which eventually, we all know that he didn't make it. Unfortunately, we all know that he didn't do it. But that was the whole point. The whole point was to go and find Elizabeth Afton to try and set her free, which either was a trick or was genuine from William Afton. We still don't know that. I don't have any more thoughts on who it could possibly be yet. It might be Golden Freddy too, but we already saw his role in the movie, so it doesn't really add up. But those are my 4 thoughts on who the message "Come Find Me" could be for. Now, again, we'll see in a future movie, in wherever, but overall, this movie I loved it. The general audience. I took my sibling to go see this movie, and they were they admitted they were very confused. Which, yes, I can totally see that. The general audience. This movie is not for the general audience, which was the intention behind it. That was revealed in a bunch of behind the scenes and stuff like that. But the general audience for this movie is not gonna get it. This movie is for the die-hard FNAF fans. That's who this movie is for, and I can appreciate that. I really can. And as a die-hard FNAF fan like myself, I very much enjoyed the interesting take on the story that's been presented in the games and just everything about the movie I enjoyed. So, well done to you, Scott Cawthon, and well done to everyone else who was involved in this awesome movie. You gave us something that was worth 8 years of waiting. So those are my thoughts and theories about the FNAF movie, kind of me just rambling on about it. I've wanted to because I can't get this movie out of my head. It's just so interesting. It's so interesting to see what they'll do, and I'm very excited about it. Hopefully, they'll start production on the next movie soon, and we'll get it, hopefully not 8 more years in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and again, I know this is like it's been a while, so who knows, maybe I'll do more of this stuff if I feel interested in it, maybe if it gains traction or not. Maybe not, but we'll see. But if you want to see some work that I've been doing, go check out my Instagram. It's just ArkhamWolf13 on Instagram. I post art on there. I post pictures. I posted a couple pictures of just the before and after of me in the FNAF movie. I was wearing my security guard cosplay. I wasn't the only one. Believe me, I was not the only one who was dressed up for this movie. It was great. But yeah, so if you want more of me, I guess go check me out on Instagram. But thank you very much for watching this video if you did, and I'll see you in the next one. So see you later, guys.